Presentation has not been such a good idea either. Good morning, everyone. On this 20th day of November, we are here live, WCAB AM 590, FM 100.9. The program is Gilbert Talks Taxes. We will be talking about taxes. And why can I talk about taxes? Because I am an enrolled agent. An enrolled agent is a person enrolled with the Internal Revenue Service as given power from Congress to represent taxpayers in all kinds of matters. Now, what I basically do, though, my job is I prepare tax returns. That is what I do. I also do financial planning. I also do investments. And knowing your financial situation, knowing your tax return, I can actually help you with your investments. I can actually help you with your financial planning. Because what we have learned is that every financial decision today is now a tax decision. And a tax decision becomes a financial decision. It didn't used to be this way, Todd, my engineer this morning. Good morning, Todd. It used to be that you would go get your tax return done, get your refund, or you might owe a couple of dollars, whatever, and not anymore. Now it's all really together, and it's important you understand your tax situation, the tax implications of what you do. It's critical. So we're going to take a deep dive into a couple of things this morning. I'm going to talk about a couple of, I'm going to get back into some tax planning, end of the year, things that you business owners can do. I want to explain the safe harbor prepaying expenses. I got into it a little last year, and I've talked about this before, and it surprises me how many people don't realize you can do this. I actually get calls and things. People say, well, I didn't know that was allowed. Yes, it's allowed, and you can actually save a lot of money. Just going to talk about just a lot of things, but let me start with this. Yesterday, I was at an all-day training session. We call it continuing ed. What happened is every year, this is the time of the year that we get together for our laws, to review the laws, review the new laws, review what Congress has done. And this is the first time ever, while we are in class, Congress is passing laws, and what the teacher is teaching us, and these are high-level people that put on these seminars that I go to. These are national people on the national stage as far as the government goes. These are people that are involved with like they sit in on IRS tax planning meetings with, the assistant commissioner and people like that, and high-level IRS management. So these people get emails and texts about things as they're happening in real time. Literally, while we are in class, law is being written that is undoing what we had just learned. So the man comes back after the break, and he says, that whole thing we just talked about, the $11 million, the this, the that, the other thing, goes, scrap that. Just delete that off the PowerPoint. Never, out comes the big Sharpie. Never in my, how many years I've been doing this now, going on 25 years of doing this. I've been an enrolled agent for going on 12 years. And I've been a financial planner, had my securities licenses. Never in all these years have I started to do my first tax returns in 1995, 96. Never have I seen this before like this. So we talked a lot about the IRS, and I'm going to talk a lot about the IRS, and I'm going to get into a couple of things. We're going to take a deep dive again. So I want everybody to get that pot of coffee on. You tea drinkers, you may want to dial it up a little bit. Let's get the Assam out. Let's get, not the English breakfast. It's going to be too mild. Get the Assam out, and let's get a kettle on. Let's get the coffee pot going, because I'm taking a deep dive. I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about estate planning and why you need an LLC in your estate planning. Because I've actually gotten phone calls, several appointments I had this week have met with estate attorneys who have proposed they create these LLCs, and people don't understand why you would do that. They say, well, I don't want a business, I just want to create a will. Well, when you create a will and you want to create an estate, there are major tax advantages to doing it that way. So I want to go ahead. I'm going to be getting into that, and that is going to be a deep dive. I mean, that is going to be definitely get the pot of coffee on. I'll give you some time to do that. But I want to start the program. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by what I saw. Those of you that have been listening for a while know I don't just talk about tax law and you know, if you owe the IRS money, what to do. Everybody should know by now what to do, okay? If you don't, give me a phone call, 828-289-9300. I'll tell you what to do. If you've got debt problems, I can help you with that. If you need prior year tax returns done, I can help you with that. I want to take this I want to go to the 50,000 view on this, on what's happening here now, what we're having happen. Did I say that right? What happening? Yeah, thank you. Todd's always there. Todd's always there watching me. Oh, and I didn't welcome. Thank you. Todd's feverishly engineering, I hope. He's pushing a lot of buttons. www.wcab59.com. Those of you live streaming are watching us this morning here. And those of you that pick us up later, I want to welcome you, because I do have people that pick this up in other parts of the country later. Thank you. So I'm very encouraged by what I saw. I'm very encouraged. We are seeing some justice in our country. You wonder, after so much injustice and so many things, there are glimmers of hope, and we tend to focus on the negative and not see that there's a lot of positive happening before us. There is a good generation coming up. There are young people that care about this country, because that's who you tend to see, because that's who the media tends to portray, and that's who the media tends to show as an example of what young people are. But that's not the truth, and that's not what's going on. We met a young lady yesterday who's from another state. She's attending Gardner-Webb, and I said to her, we're in Charlotte, by the way, for this IRS conference, and I said to her, oh, why did you pick Gardner-Webb? And this is not an endorsement for Gardner-Webb, by the way. Let me disclaim. It just happens. She was Gardner-Webb. She's an athlete at Gardner-Webb, and that's how I knew she went to Gardner-Webb. She had her T-shirt on, her sweatshirt on, and her jacket, her sport jacket. And I said, oh, why did you pick Gardner-Webb? She said, I really prayed about it, and I wanted to go to a Christian school. I wanted to go to a place that offered some values. And she said, and I felt God answered my prayer and allowed me to go to Gardner-Webb. And she's a freshman. And I thought, that gives me hope right there, to hear somebody, because, you know, you go to your church and you're meeting the young people that are going to your church, but that's the proverbial, you're preaching to the choir. That's, you know, those are our people there at our church, and you expect those things from them. They're active. But to just run into somebody random in Charlotte and start up a conversation and have her say that with a lot of conviction, just a lot of conviction about why she was doing this and why she was involved. And we talked about a few other things, and it was a brief 5-minute conversation, but I walked away. Christy was with me, Lynn, Stefania. The four of us went there to the conference yesterday, and you walk away so encouraged. And I had a few things like that happen. And we see a lot of bad things in the media. We see hypocritical journalism of the worst kind, one-sided, agenda-driven, everything but biased. I mean, everything but unbiased, totally biased to whatever slant. And you see it both ways. You see stuff that's so far to the right, you're like, do you even realize what's going on? And you see it so far to the left that you wonder, what I thought we defeated those people in the last World War. Why are they still? But you don't know. You don't know. So I'm very encouraged. And one of the things that encouraged me very much was we were talking about IRS funding and why the IRS every year, this time of the year too, it's like clockwork. Every year, and I've talked about it for the 7 years I've been doing this program. Every November, the IRS commissioner goes to Congress, and they say to him, why is the IRS doing such a horrible job? And he says, because Todd, you should be able to fill in the blank, because I need more money. Every year. though the solution isn't, to get people to work smarter. The solution isn't to be more efficient with the money you have. The solution isn't to try to make things work. I said earlier, and I was being serious, there are government computer systems that are still running on Windows 3.11. 1960s technology, because one of the things the commissioner said is, I'm still using 1960s technology. You know what, Mr. Commissioner, we're all using 1960s technology. That's how long computers have been around. I'm sorry. Actually, they were around since the 40s. Okay? Even Windows 11 runs on DOS. It's running in the background. So we're all using 60s technology. No, your failures are beyond that, but they need money. So Congress isn't giving them the money that they think they need. So one of the people presenting yesterday asked, because when you're in these meetings, you're privy. These people kind of have casual conversations. So, and they tend to speak the truth because they're not in front of cameras, and it's not being recorded, and they're not giving you the official answer. So he said to some of these Congress people, these higher level people, he said, why are you not giving them money for these things they claim they need? And the one man looked at him, and in a blazing moment of bureaucratic honesty, which those moments are very rare. So when you hear them, your ears want to perk up. In a moment of honesty, he said, Lois Lerner. Now, Todd, you remember her. You remember Lois Lerner. And this is an example of where I thought, there's no justice. Lois, okay, let's step in the Wayback Machine here and go back in history a second. Lois Lerner was and I don't remember her title, because she's not the point of the story, but she worked for the IRS. She had an upper management level job. I can't remember. She was like a G4. She was making like $130,000 a year. She had some authority. The Tea Party movement was very powerful at that time. They were really flexing their muscles. Obama was president. I want to say this happened around the first midterm elections after he was president. So the Tea Party was gaining a lot of momentum. So when you want to fundraise or create a political party, not a political party, you want to create a political PAC, or you want to do something to get money, you want to create some kind of a nonprofit entity, because that money's not, that's not income, and you shouldn't pay taxes on it. So, and you can do that for political purposes, for political fundraising, for political whatever. And the Tea Party was creating a lot of these, and they were generating a lot of money, and they were becoming a pretty big movement. So somebody in the Obama administration, and really in fairness to Barack, he may not have known anything about this. I'm not accusing him of doing this. I know some people at the time said that he was involved in it. We don't know. We will never know. There is only one that will know, the judge, and we'll all know one day, okay? But until that day, we can only speculate. They said it was Barack Obama. They said no, it was other high-level administration officials. But somebody, because she didn't do this on her own, somebody instructed Lois Lerner to take all those applications. Because so let me back up a little bit more. When you want to start one of these political fundraising groups and you want to get not-for-profit status, you have to fill out a form. I'm not going to get into what the form is or the whole process, but you fill out a form and you put all your information in there. And what she was doing through her position, any application that had the word Tea Party in it, because at the time that was the big thing, the Tea Party movement, which the Tea Party movement kind of imploded and kind of went away after Mitt Romney, and I don't know that the Tea Party could have helped Mitt Romney. I don't know that anybody could have helped Mitt Romney, but that's another program. So these applications, because in this application you're supposed to say, what is the purpose of your not-for-profit? What is it you're doing? And you can be a not-for-profit for a million reasons. Anything from research to community homelessness to animal shelters to a yoga studio. I mean, pick something, you can create a not-for-profit for it. Though we tend to think of hospitals, and we tend to think of, churches and homeless shelters, things like that, but anything. So any application, and there were hundreds of them, may have even been thousands of them, that were filled out, if they had the word Tea Party anywhere as their purpose, as their function, as who they were supporting, who they were generating money with, Miss Lois Lerner, literally, I'm not being figurative here, this is literally, she would literally take that application. It's about a 10, 15 page application. I can't remember. There's a short version and a long version. She would take it and she would put it in her drawer. And those applications would never see the light of day again. And people would call and they weren't getting any response. So somehow through it all, she got found out. Okay? And I remember this really, in my own mind, this really damaged the reputation of the IRS. If such a thing is possible, Todd, because even though you knew what you know, and you know that there's things they do that aren't right, and you know the things that you know, there was always that thread of integrity that if we fill these forms out and we send them in, and I'm not just talking about just the not-for-profit forms, I'm talking about any forms that you fill out, whether it's a 2553 for S-Corp status or a request for waiver, a penalty, whatever, you felt, at least we thought, that they were going through the system, they were getting processed, and out the other end came your reply. Well, we found out that that wasn't the case. That, in fact, these forms could be scrutinized and they could be politicized. Imagine that. It's not that we didn't know it, a lot of people in the community, but I remember talking to other people, and one guy said to me, "I can't believe how naive you are." And I said, well, it's not that I'm naive, it's just that I really thought they were at least doing right, at least filling out the form. And Todd's pointing at something. It's time for a break. Oh, no, Todd, no. I'm going to keep going. Sorry. I know you're trying to keep me on track and on task and everything, but it's going to fail. And I came here with not knowing what I was going to talk about. So, no, let me finish up and we will take that break. Lois Lerner. So it seems that we weren't the only ones that were shocked by this. There were actually people in Congress that were shocked by her behavior. There were actually people, and for you to shock somebody in Congress, it's got to be pretty bad. It's got to be worse than we thought. So it just gave me hope that some of these people that actually, there is justice. Okay, it might not come when we want it. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible that said, because the judgment of God doesn't come quickly on the wicked, we begin to think that there is no justice. But God's timeline is a little longer than ours. He's looking at eternity. Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I was upset because the ground didn't open up and swallow Lois Lerner right then and there. You know, which, by the way, nothing ever happened to her. She didn't lose her job. I think she was moved to another position. She wasn't allowed to open letters or something. I don't know. There was like some minor thing that happened to her. But you begin to think there's no justice. And then you see, well, there is. There were people that paid attention, and there are people. And so every time now every time the commissioner goes and asks for more money, this and who knows what other things are in the back of their mind when they're saying, no, we're not going to give you any more money. Make do with the money that you've got now. So, and it's encouraging. So come back. We're going to talk about, let's take that break. Going to come back about, speaking of the IRS as internal, they just did an audit of how much unopened mail they have. Maybe that's the quiz. How many pieces of mail? How many unopened letters? Well, let me tell you, this was because the government can't report anything in real time. This is, and in fairness to them, because a lot happens. As of on March 20th, the day of their audit, on March 20th, 2021, how many unopened letters do you think the IRS had sitting in trucks? Then this is from an audit, taxpayer advocate audit. Let's take a break. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB AM 590, FM 100.9. I want to tell you about another great local business, Forest City concrete and grading. Call Sean at 828-447-5949. Sean is a licensed general contractor. He can do your job from site development to completion. That's Forest City Concrete and Grading. Call Sean at 828-447-5949 and tell him Gilbert Talks Taxes sent you. People come up to me and say, Gilbert, thank you for doing my tax return and thank you for getting me that big refund. Do you have any ideas what I can do with that refund? Oh, yes, I do. Take that refund right over to NC Tractor and Farm Supply, talk to Phil, get you a brand new shiny red Massey Ferguson. That's NC Tractor and Farm Supply, Railroad Avenue. You can call Phil at 828-429-5008. By the way, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes. I'm hoping he'll give me a discount when I go buy my brand new shiny Massey Ferguson tractor. We are back. Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9. Todd's asking the metaphysical question, where would I put that tractor? Well, I want a tractor for my vast 2-acre estate. I really do want a tractor, though. That's just not a commercial for Phil. Phil doing a great job over there, by the way. That place looks great. Every time I drive by, it's slammed, full of people. He can't keep them things in there long enough. No, I want a little Massey Ferguson 1725, little 25 with the backhoe. Oh yeah, just to drive around my vast 2-acre estate. Yeah, my wife's not going for it. She wants to know where I'm going to park it. That's what I would ask. Well, yeah. She's not leaving her van outside, so it's going in the garage. Okay, so where am I going to park it? No, but I think they're just beautiful. Anyway, let's get back to the IRS. So we got some interesting information yesterday. From these high-level people. Let me get right into it. Oh, I didn't give my information. I have two. What? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me give my information. Yes, the letters. How many, Todd wants to know, how many unopened letters, I'm going to say it in 1 minute, but my information, if you need to reach me. So I prepare tax returns. I do financial planning. I help businesses. I help create businesses. I help you with all your paperwork for that. I help with a lot of things. But most importantly, what we do is tax returns. We are a full-service tax prep company. We also do payroll. We also do accounting, bookkeeping. We do all those ancillary services. But our focus is tax returns and the financial planning that goes with it and the business planning that goes with it. If you need to reach me, my telephone number is 828-289-9300. You can email me, gilbert@gilberttalkstaxes.com. I have 2 locations. I have an office here at 113 Whitesides Road, Rutherfordton. I have another office, 226 South Trade Street in Tryon, in the downtown Tryon, the beautiful Art Deco building off the historic downtown Tryon. One telephone number, though, gets you an appointment at both locations. And I'm going to tease this, Todd. I'm going to tease it. Soon to have a 3rd location. Not saying where it is yet. You know where it is, of course. You know where it is. We're going to have a 3rd location soon. Well, I've been hush hush about it because we're remodeling, and materials have been so hard to get. Everything's been so hard to get. We haven't been able to pin down a schedule. And I didn't want to put it out there and then have it sit. So we'll be talking about it more and more. Now, next week, Todd, there is no Gilbert Talks Taxes next week. We're taking a short break before, enjoying Thanksgiving with the family, and then coming right back to work and we're hunkering down for the long haul. Because for us, this December is tax planning season. It is December serves one purpose for us to get ready for January. In January, it starts, and we're not expecting any extensions. I mean, you have the normal extensions that are allowed by law, but at this point, we're not expecting any extended tax seasons. Although they've surprised us the last 2 years, who knows? But right now, they're listening to this program. They're listening. So we're not expecting any. Okay, gave all that out. The call letters to the station. I'm good. We're good. How many unopened pieces of mail does the IRS have from TIGTA? That's their own internal auditors and the taxpayer advocate. How many? So they did an audit, an interim results from the 2021 filing season. As of March 20th, 2021, the IRS had 1,102,781 unopened letters. Now, what's important about that March 20th date, that audit date they did, is that, normally the tax season ends April 15th unless you extend. This year they extended it till May. So what happens when we when we e-file, then the IRS starts responding with letters, and we respond to those letters. So in June, July, August, there's a flurry of activity from the IRS that we respond to. So how many letters on top of that 1,102,781 are there? We don't know, and we won't know till next year because they won't do the next audit till then. But to put this in perspective for you, the last audit on December 25, 2020, unopened mail volume, 17,508. And that was, in the middle of the Wuhan virus pandemic. That was smack that, and they had 17,000. It went in 3 months, almost to the date, in 3 months, it went from 17,000 to 1.1 million unopened letters. So that means if you've sent a letter to the IRS, it is sitting in one of those white fiberglass totes that the post office has. Those things the post offices carry mail. Okay, I have heard eyewitnesses at the service center in Philadelphia and the other one in Kansas City say they have seen the mail trucks pull up with those things full of mail. They just write the date on it and stick it in the back of these rented trailers that are just sitting in the parking lot. That's where they're storing all these letters. That's where they were. We were told that by people. Eyewitnesses. We were told that last year at another IRS training session we were at. So 1.1 million. So if you're wondering why you haven't gotten responses to your letters, that is why. Now, this is even I think a more shocking number. Unprocessed paper tax returns. So unprocessed, the ones that they received in 2020. Now this is unprocessed. So we e-file, and you hear me talking about e-file a lot. I am an e-file originator. I'm an ERO. When you come to me and I do your tax return, I look at it, do your tax return. Todd, this is great. You made under $1 million. Fantastic. We do your tax return. You're getting back this refund. You sign the little form I give you. Your wife signs the little form. I then turn around and send it directly to the IRS. And it goes through a software processor that I use, but it goes right from me to the IRS. I am an ERO, electronic return originator. Okay? I send it off to the IRS. Literally within minutes, I will get either an acceptance or a denial. Now, all that acceptance means is that they've received it, and it's a timestamp. So I make a big deal about e-filing because it is a big deal. It gets it in their computer right away, no fooling around. That's why you get your refund, you typically within 14 to 21 days, assuming there's not some other problem. Now, if it comes back rejected, which I know in just a few minutes, if it comes back rejected, I see what that reject is and what the problem is. Sometimes those rejects cannot be fixed, and I have to paper file. And so if you had to paper file, sitting in that same trailer with that 1.1 million unopened letters is sitting, these are waiting to be processed. So these aren't even in some kind of process. These are waiting. Now, this is as of March. They may have done a couple since then. For tax year 2020, 2,144,347, by the way, tax returns. For tax year 2021, that's a tax year that just ended. October 15th. For 2021, 2,485,197 tax returns. Error resolutions. That is after we file these tax returns and the IRS finds a mistake. Now, the mistake can be the preparer made a mistake, The mistake can be, that's the IRS calling now, by the way, Todd. You may want to get that. Okay, your staff is on it. They're getting that. That may be them. They want to correct these numbers. They're like, there's no way it can be that. No, it gets worse. I've given you the good news. I have given you the good news. Error resolution. Error resolution is when we file your tax return and then the IRS finds a mistake. Now, sometimes the mistake is you forgot to give your tax preparer something. Or if you did it yourself on TurboTax, you forgot to put something in. Maybe you forgot that job you had or whatever. Yeah, I know. How do you forget a job you had? But people do. So whatever. The errors, it's an infinite number of possibilities. It could be your preparer, it could be you. It could be a software problem. So whatever the error resolution is, these are tax returns that are waiting, that the IRS is waiting to fix. So for a number of reasons, it's in this status. And this is the number that when I heard this number, it was like, I said, that's got to be a typo. There's no way. But no, yes way. Error resolution, 7,456,000. Now to put this into perspective, in December 25th, 2020, error resolution was only 162,000. That's why I thought there's got to be a mistake. No, they are that far behind. They are behind processing 7.3 million tax returns. That's a broken system that wants more money, by the way. That's a broken system. Rejects they had for that are waiting for resolution. This is just flat out rejects, 1.3 million, which now these numbers are kind of normal. And unpostables. Unpostables are unpostable for a number of reasons. 1.8 million. The year before it was 1.4 million. Those numbers didn't shock me. Now, the next one that's a big shocker, and the whole reason I'm even going into this, a lot of people amended. We amend returns for many reasons. Sometimes tax preparers will make a mistake. Sometimes the taxpayer will make a mistake. I got a question here. You know what? This is great. Whoever called this question in, I'm actually going to get into this after the break when I'm done with this. He's talking about the IRS. I'm going to talk about estates and trusts and having an LLC, and I'm going to talk about Executor. Somebody, I am going to, okay, I think I can answer this question directly on the air. Let me get back to this. Amended returns. So this is live radio, y'all. You're getting this in real time here. We stop to read the question on the air. We take our time. Yeah, no, this is live radio, complete with mistakes and coughs and sneezes and everything else that goes with it. Okay, amended returns. If you've amended a return for whatever reason, sometimes there's no reason. Sometimes we'll file the return even though we know we're missing some data, especially if we're waiting for a corrected 1099-B and whoever's the fiduciary for that says, well, we don't know when we'll have it ready. I'll say, well, this is a minor point. It's not a big, let's go ahead and get the tax return filed. And when we get the data, we'll just go ahead and do an amendment because sometimes it's just information. Sometimes there may be an additional refund of a couple $100s, and it's a small issue. We'll go ahead and file the return just to get it timely filed. So there's no issues, especially as we came up to the October 15th deadline. There were some people that still had some issues that couldn't be resolved for whatever reason. So we said, let's just get the tax return filed. Okay, there's a man. One example is one person was the 1099-B from the fiduciary had some really obvious mistakes, and there were some things and the fiduciary even knew these were mistakes, but they couldn't pinpoint it. They were, people were working remotely, and it was just a lot of stuff. So I said, look, this is a minor point. Worst case scenario, you may owe another couple of $100. You may get another couple of $100 back as a refund. Let's go ahead and file this thing. That way you're timely filed. And of course, everybody agreed, and we did. So now when we get the correct information, we'll go ahead and file an amended return. Okay? They are backed up on amended returns. There are 1,805,000 amended returns that they had that are waiting to be processed. These aren't even like they've been opened and, oh, we got to do this. Because amended returns, last year was the first year you could e-file amended returns. Before this, they had to be paper filed. So this is amended returns. Some of them go back. I mean, I've amended returns. I've amended a 2015 return this year. I just did. We got some information that showed the man came to me. He wasn't a client of mine, and he said, my tax preparer, we found this mistake in an audit. I need to amend 2015, 2016, and 2017. So I said, great, yeah, sure. Oh, that's right, let's do it. They're sitting in that trailer waiting to be opened. This is a serious problem. This is a very, very serious problem. Is there any hope in sight? I don't know. I really don't know. Is this something they're going to dig themselves out of? I don't know. They say that if they had more money, but I don't know. And what makes it worse, and we'll go ahead and take this break, is the way that they're doing it. So the way that they're doing it is when they open the letter, regardless of what it is, it's first in, first out. So they're not prioritizing these. Like, they're not looking at them going, what's easy that we can process quickly and get off the table? They're not sorting it that way. Like you would think, okay, simple returns that are just maybe fix a W-2 or just fix a 1099 or just fix something we can do quickly. No, it's the next letter, they open it and they resolve it. It could be complicated. It could be, very hard. They'll get that one done. Then when that one's done, then they'll open the next letter, literally. Of course, this happens in mass with many people doing it, but it is literally hands-on, eyeballs reading paper. This isn't computers. This is this. So what's it going to take? I don't know. A lot of prayer, really, is the only thing. It's not giving them more money, because we've given them more money and it's failed. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back. I'm going to talk about trusts and estates, and I'm going to answer this question that somebody called in. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB AM 590, FM 100.9.
As we get ready for this year's tax season, there's one thought on everyone's mind. Will Gilbert's hair look fabulous this year? Oh, yes, it will. How can I say that? Because I go to Robin Saunders at RSL Salon. Whether it's a good haircut, a pedicure, or a manicure, you can count on RSL Salon. Call Robin at 828-289-9110 because everyone deserves to look fabulous.
Hi, I'm Sandra. My husband Peterson and I own Precision Detail and Tint. We invite you to come to our new location at 620 U.S. Highway 64, Rutherfordton, on the corner of Silvers Lake Road and Highway 64. Whether you need specialty detailing for your car, RV, or boat, or window tinting for your automobile, or home or business, we can help you. Voted Best of Rutherford County for 11 straight years, you will know you will get quality work at a good price. Stop by for an appointment or call 828-245-8889. We're open Monday through Friday 9 to 5 and Saturday 9 to 1.
This is Gilbert. I've made a career out of helping businesses. Something else that can help businesses is a good sign. Let me tell you about DS Signs and Graphics right here in Spindale. Whether it's outdoor signage, banners, printing, or promotional items, call Alex at 828-286-4900. And remember, a good sign is good business.
Back. Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB AM 590, FM 100.9. Those of you live streaming, www.wcab59.com. I am wearing my gold, what about this, my gold camel hair. Gold camel hair with my vintage Italian tie. Gold and blue. I look great in the blue room, by the way. This is a nice contrast. Those of you live streaming, thank you so much. And those of you that will pick this program up later, thank you for watching it. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for I also take the audio from the program and do a blog. I post it on my website, gilberttalkstaxes.com. And those of you that listen to it and follow me, thank you so much for doing that. And this is live radio. This is live radio at its finest. Todd is not a bot. He is a real person. here engineering. We're talking about our schedule before I get into this with the states. So next Saturday, I will not be here, the 27th. And then December 25th is a Saturday this year, which I will not be here. And January 1st is a Saturday, which I will not be here. So I'm getting all kinds of time off here. Well, this is because we need to get ready for next tax season. We're not fooling around. This is going to be serious. So we will be here December 4th, the next program we'll do, the 4th, the 11th, and the 18th, and then January 8th, 2022. Hard to believe how fast this year has gone and how fast things are going. So the question that somebody just called in, if you are an executor of an estate, what asset of the estate do you have to list for the court system? Okay, so that's a pretty broad question. So the estate, I'm going to assume that the estate is a deceased person, one person, that deceased and caused you to create, caused you to go to the courthouse and create this estate for them. I'm also going to assume that they didn't have a will. I'm just going to make that assumption, okay? Because a lot of these things would have been listed in the will if there was a will. So let's just assume there's no will. So pretty much all the assets that person owned. The big issue is creditors want to get paid their money. The person that passed away owed money. The list of everything they owed is very important, okay? So that the creditors, anybody that might have a claim, as well as to notify potential heirs that this estate was created, and then you need a bank account, to move these assets into for the estate. So what assets? Pretty much everything that the person owned. Now, you're allowed to lump sum a lot of things. Well, it's not that you're allowed. It's most of the personal items, clothing, things like that. You can just make a generalization. But most of these things people don't list. Personal items, minor personal items. But anything of any value, just things that come to mind quickly because you'd be shocked you don't think they have a lot of value, but they do. Antique furniture, collectibles, coins, stamps, guns. I got a client whose uncle was in Japan in the war and brought back souvenirs. He passed away. Now these souvenirs are being evaluated. They are worth a lot of money. Everybody thought it was just a bunch of junk sitting in a box. It wasn't a bunch of junk sitting in a box. Actually, several of the pieces are highly desirable collector's items that have a lot of value. Great news for the beneficiaries, the heirs, because these items are going to be sold for a lot of money. So anything that's of value, of course, houses, cars, cash in bank accounts, stocks, bonds, pension plans, 401k money, IRA money, and the beneficiaries do not pay the tax. A lot of the heirs, I get phone calls all the time from heirs. I'm inheriting this money. Okay, how much tax am I going to pay on this money? Well, most estate money that moves to you is tax-free to you. The estate pays the tax. Okay, the estate pays the tax. So, but you may inherit something that is taxable to you, like an IRA, where you're listed as the beneficiary and you're going to inherit. It's an inherited IRA. You're the one that's going to pay the tax on it. But usually there's plenty of money in the IRA to cover it. I mean, the money comes from it. That was my famous story that I told, that people would call me at the office. They'd tell the story again. There were the lady so the dad passes away. There's 2 sisters and a brother, and they decide to split the assets themselves. Just go ahead and split it. Didn't go to the courts. Didn't create any estate. The sister took, and I'm nutshelling a long story. Sister takes the house, brother takes the car and some other things and some money that he wanted. The other sister takes the IRA. And of course, all of them knew that none of it was taxable. So the sister that took the IRA cashes the IRA in and pays no tax on it. And then she starts getting letters from the IRS, like a year later. All the money's gone. She's already spent it. And she ignores these letters because, doesn't she know that she said the IRS should have known that this wasn't taxable. Well, it was taxable. Inherited IRAs are taxable. So by the time she finally decided to call somebody, like 7 years later of ignoring all these letters, actually she finally called somebody when the IRS finally caught up with her and garnished her Social Security. And they can garnish your Social Security for up to 15%. They finally caught up with her, garnished her Social Security, and cleaned out her bank account. And she finally thought she should do something about it. She owed more money in tax and penalty than she got from the original IRA. Okay, so getting back to it, what assets? Pretty much everything like that. Now, assets that have a direct beneficiary, you still list them, but you list them that way. Life insurance policies. The beneficiary, life insurance policies have a beneficiary. Beneficiaries of life insurance policies do not pay tax on that money. That is tax-free money to the beneficiary. But the estate still needs to list that life insurance policy as an asset. Okay, because it is. It is an asset. But the beneficiary will get that money. So I hope I answered your question. This is a pretty big question. There's a lot of variables in this, and there's a lot of moving parts. Again, the key is that, or the purpose of it is they want to make sure that the deceased person's debts, their obligations, vendors or creditors are protected, that they get their money, because this is usually there's going to be their last chance to get their money. Okay, now I've had some phone calls from some people. We're going to take a deep dive here. Oh, Todd, let's go ahead and take the last break. We're going to take a deep dive here. We're going to talk about your benefits to include, or benefits of including an LLC in your estate plan. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9.
This is Gilbert. If you owe the IRS past due taxes, don't call those toll-free national numbers. Local, affordable help is right here in Rutherford County. Stop garnishments, levies, and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300. This is Gilbert. I want to tell you about Jesse James Railroad Express at 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. It's a great place. Jesse's a good friend of mine, and I encourage you to stop by and support him. On Mondays, he's doing a 99-cent hot dog, mustard, chili, and onions. When you go, tell him Mr. Fabulous himself sent you. I want to tell you about a little-known Rutherford County gem, Integrity Marble and Granite, located at 287 Shiloh Road in Forest City. They are the premier stone fabrication company in the western North Carolina region. They specialize in granite, marble, and natural stone, offering complete design and installation. Their design center and Kohler showroom features vanities, decorative accessories, bathroom, and kitchen fixtures. You do not have to go to Charlotte or Asheville for this kind of quality. We have it right here in Forest City. Stop in their showroom and browse their beautiful displays, or you can call 828-247-8801 for a free quote. You can also go to their website, www.integritymarblegranite.com, and look at the pictures and see samples of their available materials. Now, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes, and they will give you $100 off any sink purchase. That's Integrity Marble and Granite.
Talks Taxes, WCAB, AM 590, FM 100.9. Well, I've only got, how much time is left, Todd? 8 minutes and 49 seconds? 10 minutes. That says 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay. Okay, so we have a flurry of activity here. A flurry. We are, all kinds of questions are being asked. Boy, estates are a thing. Okay, so if you sell, somebody called in with this question. If you sell your estate, how much deductible, if any, before you pay capital gains? Okay, yes, there is a deductible on estate tax returns for income to the estate. So, but let me ask this person that just called in with that question. Do me a favor, send me an email, because I've got some questions for you. Because it depends. Your capital gains rate, long-term capital gains rate below certain limits, the tax is 0%. But then when you get up over a limit, it goes up. So capital gains rates change. Now, with estates and trusts, there's a whole other formula to it. And then is this an estate of a deceased person or a living person? There's just a lot of questions. So please, send me an email, Gilbert@GilbertTalksTaxes.com, and just write the question out, and I'll know it's you, and I will reply to this personally. And so before you pay capital gains, because I can do a 1-hour program on this question. Seriously, there are so many variables. Estate planning, which I love to do, is very specific. And I don't want to just give out a bunch of generic information. I mean, you can get that stuff online, but specific to you to answer your question. Now, that said, and then the other question with the assets, same thing. The person who wanted to know about what assets have to be listed for the court system, send me an email, Gilbert@GilbertTalksTaxes.com. You can be a little more specific about the value of the estate, what kind of things we're looking at it. Now, I've had some clients. Before I start this part, I want to say this. I am not an attorney. I am an enrolled agent. I'm not trying to pretend to be an attorney. And the first piece of advice I give you, I give everybody, and I say it on the air all the time, is get an attorney. If you're setting up an estate plan, please get an attorney, or you're setting up a trust, or you're doing your will, get an attorney that this is what they do. They are knowledgeable in estates and trusts and wills and power of attorneys. Preferably, they also understand elder law. Okay? And I know that in smaller communities it's hard because attorneys will have 2 or 3 specialties, but if you go to an attorney and the majority of what they do is real estate law, I would tell you, please keep looking. They may be a great attorney at real estate law, but this stuff gets complicated real fast. And any competent attorney will tell you, I can't help you. Go to somebody that does that. There are attorneys that specialize in elder law. I don't know that you need to get a big, Charlotte firm. There's a lot of good attorneys here, Asheville, Hendersonville. I network with a number of them. I can have a brief conversation with you and recommend a few that I know that I have used, but you can look online and find many that are competent, that have the right credentials. Okay, that said, I am not giving tax advice. I'm just explaining how these things work. I'm sorry, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm giving tax advice. Thank you. I am not giving legal advice. I just want to explain how this all works. Okay, so I skate on thin ice here. I don't want you to think I'm giving legal advice. Okay, you attorneys out there that work with me, you know how obsessed I am about this and getting it right, getting these estates right, because they're complicated. And after you pass away is not the time to figure it out. Okay, so I've had several come to me and said they've met with their estate attorneys, and their estate attorneys have recommended including an LLC in their estate plan. And they're like, well, how does that help? What is that? One person, the attorney explained it to him, and he kind of understood it. But then he came to me, because I'm his tax preparer, and I help him with his financials. And he said, explain this to me how you see it. So what happens is limited liability companies are important for small business owners. And most people think of an LLC as a small business tool, okay? But they can be useful in estate planning, okay? An LLC can help you pass assets to your children while avoiding, and this is totally legal, okay? Tax avoidance is not illegal, okay, while avoiding gift and estate taxes. Okay, so when an LLC is kind of a hybrid. It's between a partnership and a corporation. So like a corporation, the LLC protects you against liability, but like a partnership, all the income and the losses go to the personal tax return. Again, I'm just nutshelling. LLCs have fewer fees than a corporation, so people like doing them, and there's fewer rules on how you organize them and everything. Now, if you have a large estate, and don't assume that you don't have a large estate. I've said this 1,000 times, with property values the way they are, pension plans, and these things the way they are, you could have a larger estate than you realize. Okay, remember Uncle Marvin. Uncle Marvin died. He was worth $1.5 million. Nobody knew he had a penny. And Uncle Marvin didn't look like he had any money. And probably Uncle Marvin didn't think he had any money, but Uncle Marvin had a lot of assets. He had a house, he had land, he had cash, he had bank accounts, he had pension plans, retirement plans, life insurance. At the end of the day, he was worth $1.5 million. Okay, so if you have an estate, an LLC can be used to pass assets to your children without the gift and estate taxing. Okay, now the estate tax exemption is $11.7 million for a single person, $23.4 million for couples. So you're exempted. An estate is exempted on paying taxes up to that amount. Okay, so there's a lot of room. What's going to happen is it's going back down. So it's that high because of the TCJA, which was Trump's tax law, put it up that high, but it's going to go back down to the 5.4 million. So if you've got a high estate, and that's going to happen in 2026, you got a high estate, you may want to get on this now, because that number is going to go down. They're going to go back to 5.4 million. Or you may not know, but Hillary Clinton, when she was running for president, wanted it to be at 1 million. She thought that was high. And there are people in Congress that don't want the states to have any tax break. So this is always on the table as something they would like to get rid of, because it's a way to create a lot of revenue, especially with baby boomers and mortality rates being the way they are. They would like to see this go away. Well, it's not going to go away. As a matter of fact, it's definitely not going to go away. It's nowhere in this new tax bill are they going to change it. Okay, so a family LLC works. The parents and the children create the LLC and transfer the assets into the LLC, and then the parents remain as the managing members of the LLC, and the children are the non-managing members. What that means is that the parents still are in control of the assets. The children are not in control of the assets, but they have membership interest. Okay, and that's where it gets interesting. That's where you can do tax planning, because what happens is when you transfer an asset, you get a valuation discount of 40%. Okay, so you want to transfer money to a child, you give them $10,000. It's valued at $6,000. Okay, to the child, which is taxable to the child, but they've just had a 40% knockoff on it. They're going to just pay their regular tax rate on it, and there's planning you can do there too, and it's not hitting your gift exclusion. This has nothing to do with your lifetime or your annual gifting exclusion. It's a powerful, powerful tool. Done right, it can really be useful. So yes, this is a normal thing. If the estate's the right estate, you may want to look into it. Your attorney will recommend it, and I can look at your tax situation and tell you ways that it can benefit you specifically. Okay, I've got how many minutes left, Todd? 2 minutes. Answer a question. End of the year tax planning tip is to prepay your expenses. This is for small business, well, even big business owners. You can use this. Okay, some people said they didn't even know this was a thing. They were like, 1 minute, thank you, Todd. I'm watching the timer. They didn't even know this was a thing. So the IRS has actually created a safe harbor where you can prepay your expenses for next year. Okay, so under the safe harbor, your 2021 prepayments, okay, can be paid. But now there's just a couple of things you got to do. This is what people didn't understand. So let's say, as an example, I've got 30 seconds. As an example, the landlord, you pay $4,000 a month rent. Okay, so $48,000. This year you've had a great year. You could use a $48,000 deduction. Go ahead and prepay next year's rent. Write that check December 31st, put it in the mail, and I recommend you send it certified mail just so you have a paper trail. send a mail. But let the landlord know you got this check is coming. Your landlord's not going to get it till, well, the way the post office has been working, they're not going to get it till sometime in the middle of January. But anyway, they're not going to get it till 2022, okay, because you put it in the mail Saturday the 31st, okay? They're going to get it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 3rd, 4th, 5th of January 2022. Let them know that you're doing this. So they're still going to post it as income in 2022, okay? They're not posting it as income. It doesn't matter when the check was written to them. It's when they received it. So they're going to post it, which they're going to do anyway. You're going to get that $48,000 write-off this year. And this is an IRS approved, this is a safe harbor. This has been used. It's scrubbed. It's good. Think anything that you can prepay, rent, think of contracts, think of equipment you lease. I know people have made a lot of money this year. They've had a good year. So they're looking to shelter that money. You've got these assets. This is a great way to do it. What other things? Some utilities allow you to prepay. Some don't. Some do. The idea is be sure that they're not going to return the check to you. Let them know, like your landlord, let your landlord know. Leasing equipment, make sure you can do this. Work on this strategy, and there is no limit to the amount that you can do. If you can prepay everything and you have the money, those are all write-offs you're going to get this year. The downside of it, you won't have them next year, okay, unless you keep kicking this can up the road. This is on the table. It's not coming off the table. It's actually been around for a while. I've recommended it. I've used it, and I've seen great results with it. Okay, that's the end of the program. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes.